Hey everyone, I have not posted on this channel in a while, but I wanted to make sure to be more active here going forward, even if my sports channel will be the main priority going forward, as I'm less than a dozen or so subs away from having 100. But before I get into the main topic of this video, which would be about Halo obviously, I just wanted to kind of talk about the Metal Gear Rising video essay, and it's coming still. It's just, I had an unfortunate incident with my editor where I had the first few chapters done and everything, then it decided to just corrupt my file, so that was a very fun experience because it was like at midnight. But anyways, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that. I want to make sure I can get that to you guys as soon as possible, but I just want to kind of make a video to hold you guys over. So let's talk about Halo and kind of where it's at as a franchise right now. It's no secret the franchise has seen better days, and the Halo fandom has obviously been vocal about it. They're a very passionate fandom, and I feel just about every Halo YouTuber who's worth anything right now has basically posted like a 343 employee firing video, like a Microsoft firing employee video, or Halo is dead video. And I don't think it's gonna die per se, or even if it's dead. My main thing is I think it was probably just go MIA for a little bit, and I just think obviously when Halo's not doing too good right now, people are gonna be kind of doomerisms about it. Like, people are gonna freak out, kind of exaggerate how it is, and it's just, we've seen plenty of franchises who have taken pretty bad steps before, have a couple bad games, and then they die obviously. But I think for me, I kind of get reminded of the Doom franchise, because I know after Doom 3 everyone assumed that would be like a boomer shooter of the past, but then it took a massive break, Doom Eternal came out, and it flipped the script on that franchise, and it's really popular again right now. So I'm not saying exactly that Halo will reclaim its top spot as the top dog first-person shooter industry. I don't think so. First, and then of course I don't think anyone needs to do so to be that successful. It's just a main problem with what Halo's direction is and why people are really pessimistic about it is just because obviously, as we're all Halo fans, we know that Microsoft and the head honchos who run 343 and the people associated with them, we've known for a while now that they try to make Halo basically every other, like a common denominator kind of game instead of what Halo was and what Bungie's designs were. Just because, like, when Halo 4 came out, it was obvious even back then when I was like in 4th grade that obviously it took a lot of aspects from Call of Duty. It had like the creator class, the supply drop, like the care package and all that stuff, loadouts. As I mentioned before, it's just when you see things like that, it's obvious that they're no longer trying to appeal to the core base rather than just to a bunch of people who would just be playing the most popular game at the time. And even right now with Halo Infinite, we're seeing that it's basically trying to be Fortnite. Has like a battle pass. It's obviously free to play. Then of course we're gonna see that they're planning on still doing that battle royale coming out soon. Have no idea if it's coming out soon or whatnot. I just know that they switched the game engine to Unreal, which is something I guess that did happen recently, but I think it's still a disservice to, especially if the majority of the people who are playing these games have been around forever now. Like, I've been playing Halo since I can pick up a controller. Really, I loved Reach. That was like my first real shooter game. I've loved Halo 2, like all of them, 1, 2, 3, ODST even. Obviously, I played Halo 4, I played 5, I played Infinite, and I don't feel the same way about those games, and a lot of it is because of how they really just want to throw in whatever is popular. Like, obviously we saw Halo 5 had like the first microtransactions, Infinite's the free-to-play version, and I'd rather just play the old combat loop. That's why I always catch myself revisiting Halo CE 2, 3, and I have so many other games I have on my list I want to play, I want to do reviews on, but I just somehow always come back to those games. Also Reach as well, I'm not forgetting about that. Sometimes ODST, but obviously not as quite as much. But those Bungie games, I love them so much, and the polish, the art design, everything that was so integral to what Halo was has been stripped away from 4 or 5 Infinite, so they can be more of a universal appeal to a lot more gamers. And obviously I'm not trying to gatekeep Halo or anything like that. I understand why they'd obviously want to have Halo reach out to a more broad demographic, and people act like they shouldn't do that. I understand, obviously, more people playing, that's good for them, obviously. And to an extent, I understand why they'd want to have more people in it. It's just, after a certain point, though, especially when I'm playing something like Halo 4, where it feels a lot more of like a generic sci-fi with a lot more of a Call of Duty vibe to it. After a certain point, if you keep trying to take away from the core experience of Halo, it just becomes, as I mentioned before, like a Call of Duty, a Fortnite, just whatever else they're trying to copy right now. And then 343 was designed to never really have any appeal to Halo fans, just because, like, if you look up articles, you'll find that the initial people who were hired to make Halo 4, for example, they were not interested in Halo, didn't play it, or they outright disliked it, and that's why it goes back to the whole why Halo has been a little bit more dumbed down from what it used to be, for example. But the main thing is, I've played the Halo Infinite campaign, I finished it and all that stuff, and that was the first Halo game where I really beat, other than 4, for example, that I just didn't come back to play. I didn't bother with the multiplayer, I didn't bother trying to 100% or anything like that. And then the reason why I did come back into Halo though was just because Halo MCC has released their modding tools to the public, so that means we get to see a lot more bigger mods, better mods. We get to see a lot more tools being used by the modding community now. So I decided to play some of these mods, just give them a spin, and then the Steam Workshop made it a lot easier to download them and install them. Sometimes you have to install like a sound pack or whatever, but it's really easy in my opinion. So I've been playing a lot of these mods, and then the first mod I really wanted to play was because I've been watching him for a while, but Venge of the Dam's Halo 2 Uncut was a really fun mod. If you're a PC player, it's on the Steam Workshop, as I mentioned before. I would highly recommend it. Basically, this mod is designed to basically bring back a lot of the cut content from Halo 2, all the stuff that was not finalized, because anybody who's kind of familiar with Halo 2 knows that that game went through development hell, a lot of crunch time, it was a really bad experience for Bungie to develop that game. It had to basically be finished in 10 months from the original engine plan, so having a mod like Venge of the Dam's mod that brings back a lot of cut content, kind of restores weapons to how they were supposed to be, for example, a little bit of new cutscenes as well, some new dialogue. It made Halo 2 really fun to play back again, just because it just kind of felt like a little bit of a remix, but obviously it was really cool to see what Bungie had in mind originally for Halo 2 as well. Going off of Venge of the Dam's mod, the mod I really was blown away by was Mythic Jaqui's Halo Reach Mythic Overhaul mod, and that mod basically adds every weapon from every other Halo game on top of more enemy types, which really helps the sandbox of Halo Reach, because as much as I love Halo Reach, especially on higher difficulty, some of the weapons kind of become really unviable, and having a mod that really ups the power, the fire rate, it ups everything about Halo Reach, and it just makes it so much more better than it already was. I already think Halo Reach is one of my favorite games as it is already. Having a mod that has like the carbine, beam rifle, the saw was in it, that was cool. It had like a custom LMG, which I was really blown away by the fact that was a fan-made weapon. It did not feel and look like a fan-made weapon. It felt like something Bungie would have made. That was a really cool addition as well. Seeing more brute types that were from more Halo 2, Halo 3 was cool. Seeing different elite armors, mainly a lot of them from Halo 2 Anniversary, looked really clean. It kind of helped diversify the enemies a little bit. And then I didn't mind the challenge aspect of it either. It did buff a lot of the enemies, especially with the zealots that have the jackal shields now on top of the energy sword. That makes them really tough. But then even the grunts, they have energy shields now, so you can't just end precision weapons, especially like the BR or the DMR, which are both really good in this mod. You have to kind of figure out a way to bring down the shield before you can really start spamming, because you'll get overran if you just try to take your time just using a headshot weapon, which that was a really fun experience. And then of course we also really upped the hunter game in this as well, just because you get to use the hunter's fuel rod cannons after you kill them, and then you get to also board them as well, which was, I felt, really nice touches for that. Especially as we've seen in the base game's code, there was already meant to be hunter boarding, so having that in an official mod was pretty cool as well. Last but certainly not least, I've been playing Ruby of Blue's Halo Combat Evolved Rebalance mod, which adds content and new content as well into Halo Combat Evolved. And as someone who grew up with the console games, having a campaign mod that has a sentinel beam, flamethrower, energy sword, fuel rod cannon as playable weapons was a really cool sight to see. Then Ruby did a really good job making some of the weapons feel more unique, because we've known that in the back half of Halo CE, it's no secret that a lot of the maps feel the exact same like they did in the first half. Like Two Betrayals is basically a clone of Assault in the Control Room, and then Keys is basically kind of like a remix of Truth and Reconciliation. The mod was basically Pillar of Honor. I mean, you get what I mean, so on and so forth. So having a mod that really gave them a little bit of a flood vibe to it, some more atmosphere, some different Covenant architecture was a really nice change in my opinion. That was something I'd love to see from RWBY as well. And then even Two Betrayals, kind of going back to that, was so much better than it was in base game. Seeing like the flood infestation taking place, having ODSTs to back you up as well against the Sentinels, who have a little bit more of a variety I feel, and then against the Covenant, who have a lot more zealots, a lot more of a general enemy type to fight against. How much effort RWBY put into this mod and how fun it was to play it. I'm bringing these mods up because they continue to give the Halo community life that 343 and Microsoft still neglect to this day. And then truthfully, I have no idea if Microsoft will ever hand Halo to another developer to steer was basically a crash and sinking ship right now that 343 is behind. But even if they don't, there are going to be a lot of fans who will keep on creating for the game series they love. And for me personally, maybe they should give Halo a break for a while and then just come to revitalize in the future, kind of have a little bit of a reboot, just because we know what Halo is capable of being once it's fully going and once it has all the fans bought in. But at this time right now, there's just a lot of neglect on 343's part. They just don't seem to care about delivering a good Halo experience, and a lot of fans obviously have voiced their concerns about that. To a certain degree, us fans don't have full control over Halo, even if we obviously would love to have that. So we have to just be patient and let the process flow through. I'm not sure if that will happen where Microsoft gives Halo a little bit of a reboot in the future instead of trying to just bull rush Halo Infinite and try to get the most out of they can from that game. I'm not quite sure, but I know Halo the series, I don't think it will ever die. I don't think the fans will let it die. I just think maybe at worst it will go missing in action. If you enjoyed this video, I want to see more like it in the future, especially Halo, or just a little bit more of a shorter video. Feel free to subscribe and let me know in the comments and below so I can know what to make going forward. Hope you guys have a great one. I'll talk to you guys later.